Washington County man suspected in string of burglaries. 4 people ejected from motorhome in rollover crash. And your daily weather forecast is coming up with highs, lows, and everything you need to know for the days ahead.
You're watching St. George News at 5, brought to you by our studio sponsor, We Win Injury Law.
Good afternoon, I'm Monica McLaughlin. Police have identified 36-year-old Patrick Wilson of Tokerville as the suspect in a string of thefts and burglaries across Washington County following his recent arrest. Wilson was taken into custody on February 24th and initially charged with multiple felonies, including theft and burglary, after police recovered more than $50,000 in stolen tools, firearms, and other items during searches of his home, vehicle, and storage unit. Authorities say Wilson was linked to multiple business burglaries in Hurricane and Laverican dating back to October 2024, with nearly $15,000 in losses. Additional charges have been filed, and Wilson remains in custody as the investigation continues. 4 people were ejected from a motorhome when it rolled over on Interstate 15 near Tokerville, leaving 2 in critical condition. For more details on the crash, here's Nick Fiala.
4 people were flung from a motorhome after the vehicle rolled over in the middle of Interstate 15 near mile marker 28 on Sunday afternoon. Utah Highway Patrol Trooper Davey Sanchez said first responders were dispatched to the scene at approximately 2:46 p.m. that day. Sanchez said the crash occurred because the rear passenger tire of the motorhome blew out, causing it to go from the right lane into the left lane and roll into the center median. 4 occupants were reportedly ejected from the vehicle. Sanchez said all 4 were transported to St. George Regional Hospital by ambulance or helicopter in poor condition. First responders partially blocked traffic in the area until all of the debris could be cleared from the scene.
Thanks, Nick. Let's take a look at your daily weather forecast, brought to you by Casablanca Resort and Casino. In St. George, it's currently 50 degrees with light rain. Expect a low of 35 tonight, and tomorrow temperatures will rise with a high of 64 and a low of 39. Over in Mesquite, it's 55 degrees and cloudy. Tonight's low is anticipated to be 40 degrees. Tomorrow, look for a high of 68 and a low of 45. Meanwhile, in Cedar City, light snow is falling with a current temperature of 37 degrees. Temperatures will drop to 26 tonight. Tomorrow's forecast includes a high of 50 degrees and a low of 29. Big changes for Utah basketball as the Utes part ways with head coach Craig Smith, while Kanab High School celebrates its first state championship in 50 years. For more, here's Aaron Crane with your local sports update.
Thanks, Monica. This past week in sports, the University of Utah has parted ways with men's basketball coach Craig Smith after 4 seasons. The decision came Monday following a 76-72 loss to Central Florida that dropped the Utes to 15-12 on the season and 7-9 in Big 12 play. Smith finishes his tenure with a 65-62 record. Assistant coach Josh Eilert will take over as interim head coach while the school begins a search for a permanent replacement. The Kanab High School boys basketball team captured the 2A state championship on Saturday with a 49-39 win over South Sevier in Richfield, marking their first title in 50 years. The Cowboys held a slim 15-14 lead at halftime before pulling ahead in the second half, led by Kyle Brown with 14 points and Cash Mortensen adding 11. Kanab finished the season with a 23-4 record, securing their second state basketball championship in school history. Meanwhile, the Kanab girls team placed third in state after a 58-34 win over Draper APA. Now back to you, Monica.
Thanks, Aaron. The Washington County School District Board of Education recently discussed concerns over HB 408, a state bill that aims to give voters more power when it comes to school board decisions, including tax increases, by establishing a process by which they can hold a referendum. While supporters say it promotes transparency, district officials worry about the costs and logistics of running referendums. District Business Administrator Brent Bills noted that the responsibility of organizing and overseeing referendums would fall on district administrators, a task he says they are not equipped to handle. A group of protesters gathered in downtown St. George to voice opposition to President Donald Trump's policies, marking the 3rd such demonstration in the city in the past month. We'll go back to Nick Fiala for more on the rally.
More than 20 people gathered at the corner of Main Street and St. George Boulevard on Sunday afternoon to protest Donald Trump's conservative agenda and come out in support of gay rights and lenient measures toward illegal immigrants. This is at least the third such anti-Trump protest to take place in St. George over the past 30 days. Similar protests are still happening all across the country covering these and other hot-button topics. One of the protesters was St. George resident Harmony Williams, who said her once conservative views changed over the course of time.
So I grew up in the Mormon church the first 40 years of my life, and my daughter had gay and bisexual friends, and I remember trying to figure out, like, wait, why does God not love these kids, trying to look for that answer in the scriptures and understand why my religion didn't approve. And as I got to know more people and my children, and when, one of your own kids comes out as bisexual or gay or something, then you really get to look inside your heart and really pray to God and really find that answer for yourself, I think what changes a lot of people's minds is they have a kid who's trans, and then they have this choice between God or what someone told them God said about trans people and their kid. And then all of a sudden they get to wrestle with it. They get to pray. They get to go directly to God and be like, God, do you not love my kid? Or do I have to disown my kid to be good? And they have this huge wrestle. And I'm so proud that a lot of my friends have gone with love and with their kid and said, my God doesn't hate my child, doesn't think there's anything wrong with the way God made my child. People that are my age or older, it changes their minds because they have the real, if they don't have any children that are trans or gay or whatever, then they don't have to wrestle with that. It's not so close. It's just this other.
Whether or not these protests against Trump build momentum for a left-wing comeback remains to be seen.
Thank you for watching St. George News at 5. To learn more about our studio sponsor, We Win Injury Law, go to wewininjurylaw.com. I'm Monica McLaughlin with St. George News, your #1 source for local news.
This has been St. George News at 5, brought to you by We Win Injury Law.